Hi there, how's it going? This is Cross the Rubicon channel. I watched a video today and it was from the platform, which is supposed to be right-leaning in New Zealand. And the main hosts are Sean Plunkett and Michael Laws, who were supposed to be centre-right. Me personally, I doubt it, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Now, Julian Batchellor, who's doing a tour of New Zealand at the minute, and his tour is all about stopping co-governance in New Zealand. Basically, Maori of New Zealand, who make up around about 16% of the population, want 50-50 co-governance of this country because they believe the Waitangi Treaty was a partnership, and this is, well, it's a lie. It is a lie. And the problem is that most of the Quisling liberal, now woke, the new word is woke, white liberals capitulate to these radical extremist super elite Maori right at the very top of the Maori tree. And Maori, these very Maori, the elites I'm talking about, they have a stranglehold on everything in New Zealand. And Julian Batchellor is pointing this out. Anyway, he's doing a tour. Go and see his tour, Stop Co-Governance. But today he went on Michael Laws. Michael Laws is, well, likable? No, he's not a likable bloke. He's a bit of a tit, actually, much like Sean Plunkett. And he pretends to be right-leaning, but he won't admit the obvious. Now, Julian Batchellor is having his events cancelled, and he's getting protesters turn up at his events, and he's having his events cancelled at the last minute by councils. And Michael Laws refuses to see. I'll leave a link below so you can have a look yourself. He refuses to accept that Maori extremists in iwi up and down the country, and I would say, although this wasn't mentioned, I would say the Maori Party, or Te Pati Maori, they have a hand in stopping Julian Batchellor saying what he needs to say. Michael Laws doesn't accept this. He thinks it's no, it's the far left. It's the far left, and it's wokeism, white wokists, that are stopping you from speaking. Now, Michael Laws agrees that he shouldn't be stopped from speaking, which is fair enough. But what he doesn't agree is that it's Maori extremists right at the very top who are stopping him. Michael Laws, this is one of his traits, and when it comes to Maori issues in New Zealand, he seems to shy away from it. And, well, he nearly always supports the radical extremists right at the very top of the tree. And well, basically, he's not going to ruin his career as a journalist. Julian Batchellor gave as good as he can get, and I implore you to go and watch Julian Batchellor when he comes to a town near you. I think he's in Hastings tonight. Havelock North, I believe. But Michael Laws tried to trip him up. He tried to character assassinate him, tried to make a fool of him. But Julian Batchellor was on his game, and he wasn't going to be intimidated into admitting something that he didn't quite say. But this is just typical of the media in New Zealand. And Michael Laws thinks he's not one of them, but he is. There is not one single journalist in New Zealand regardless of whether they take the money or not from the Public Interest Journalist Fund, $55 million a year, journalists are terrified of saying anything against the radical extremist Maori right at the very top of the Maori pyramid in New Zealand, because they know that's the end of their career. Because then the media will come after them and destroy them. And that's the reality of New Zealand. Me, I say it anyway because they've already done what they've done to me. So, I've got nothing to lose. But it is frustrating, very frustrating, to see what these journalists, like Michael Laws, try to do to others. The sun's just about to go down here, and it's bloody cold. The problem is right across the Western world, if you're white, you're guilty. And you're guilty of past sins of all kinds of, mostly slavery and colonialism or whatever. And, well, you're meant to feel guilty. Just the other day, I spent time with my 2 grandsons. I've got 3. And I spent time with 2 of them. And I wondered, what's going to happen in their future? They're in New Zealand. How is the school system, the education system, going to promote that they are guilty just by being white, and they should feel guilty for what apparently their ancestors did? It's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. And this is not only here in New Zealand, it's right across the Western world. The United States, Australia, Canada, Britain, everywhere, but especially in Britain. But this is New Zealand, so I'll just talk about New Zealand. But it's annoying. It's so annoying. And I've got to say it, and people don't like it because New Zealand's got a very high proportion of self-loathing white people who just want to get on with life. Oh, she'd be right. Oh, you know, it's not that bad. You know, if Maori get co-governance, or even they get 100%, I've heard people say this, they get 100% governance of New Zealand just because of the colour of their skin. It won't be that bad. It'll be nice. No, come on. This is about greed. This is about power. And I've got to say this because it's not being said enough. Michael Laws won't say this. Sean Plunkett won't say this. But there's not one single half Maori left. Not one single half Maori left. Lots of Maori actually say, I'm half Maori because my mum was Maori, or my dad was Maori, and my mum or dad were English or Irish or Scottish or Welsh or whatever, or Dutch. No. That would make your mum or dad, they'd have to be full Maori for you to be a half Maori. We keep hearing this over and over again. But no one will question it, because to question it is dangerous. It's really dangerous. You will lose your job. Lose your bank accounts, lose your home. Your marriage might be destroyed. It happened to me. People say I should get over it. I am over it. But it did happen to me. For a satire video. Wow. Big deal. Didn't even do blackface. But I did a satire video of a Maori MP. 2 years ago. Cost me everything. That's the power they have. If you do something like that, your life is destroyed. And it's right, it's just. That's New Zealand for you. But I do worry. I worry for the kids today. I worry for my grandchildren, my children even. Because opportunities are not going to be the same. Because if you've just got a bit of Maori blood in you, in New Zealand, a little bit of Maori blood, then as per the Hey Pua Pua document, you will be given preferential treatment for everything. That's a fact. The Hey Pua Pua document that's come down from the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, of whom Maori are not indigenous to New Zealand. They came here sometime in the 13th century. That's a fact. But the United Nations have recognised them as indigenous. You know, in the UK where I'm from, originally, I'm from Wales originally. The last remnants of the Britons of the United Kingdom. This is the British, well, Great Britain anyway. The mainland, England, Wales, Scotland. The last remnants are the Welsh and the Cornish. The real Britons. They're the last remnants. But have a guess what? They're not seen as indigenous. And they've been there for thousands of years. Thousands upon thousands of years. So how can Maori get the indigenous title from the 13th century? You see, racism is right at the heart of the United Nations too. Basically, if you're white but indigenous, you don't count. Because if you go to the UK, if you go to Wales or you go to Cornwall, they look exactly the same as people from Birmingham or London or Leicester or Scotland or Ireland. They all look exactly the same. Slightly different accents. But apparently, the Welsh and the Cornish can't claim indigenous. I don't know. But why are white people made to feel guilty and self-destruct about their own nations right now, right across the world? Joe Biden talks about right now the most dangerous thing to America is white supremacy. It's a lie, an absolute lie. Blacks in America are not being killed by whites. They're being killed by blacks. Black on black killing. There is no problem with white supremacy anywhere. I'm just looking at Venus. I'm not sure if you can see it. You see it in the sky there. But this is right across the board. In New Zealand, they say the biggest problem in New Zealand is white supremacy. Where? Neo-Nazis everywhere. Where, Kate Hannah? Where? Where are they? It's rubbish. It's all fake. They say it in Canada. They say it in Australia, the United States, the UK, and New Zealand. It's all fabricated and it's all lies. But anyway, watch Julian Batchellor when he comes to a town near you. And he's coming to the South Island soon enough, doing his tour, and he's well informed. As I'm well informed, believe it or not. He's a little bit more eloquent than me. And he's going to tell you what's happening. go along. Don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated into silence. Just because you've got friends who may be Maori. If they can't accept your opinion and they will call you racist, then they are not friends. But I'm not talking about Maori per se, I'm talking about Maori elites. But if you've got Maori friends who believe they're indigenous and they're Tangata Whenua and they've been here for thousands of years and they have rights, more rights than you are, then they are supremacists. They are Maori supremacists, is what they are. And they think that you should have less rights than them. That is just a fact, if that's what they believe. Okay, I think I've said enough, and it's getting dark. This is Cross Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video everywhere. If you want to buy me a coffee or a beer, I'll leave the details below. But look out for Julian Batchellor when he comes to a town near you, and support him. No matter what the media say, because, well, who believes the media anymore? Okay, see you later.